with me today is Michlele Bourgois. She's a physiotherapist here in Revelstoke, and today we're going to be talking about running for a person who has never run before unless they're being chased by a bear. So if you're new to it and just like, I got to get out and do some movement, this is the talk. Thanks, Michlele, for coming on.
Hi, Fraser. Good to see you.
If there were 3 points to consider when you're first starting out running, what do you think those would be?
I guess the first point, and probably the most important one, would be to consider loading. So that is, how much do you run when you go out, and how often do you go out? So the rule of thumb is to not increase by more than 10% a week, which is a little bit hard to gauge, but if you were to add up all the minutes that you run in a week, you shouldn't increase anything more than 10%. So if you're brand new to running, at first that might look like a walk run, and that will be totally fine. You definitely have to listen to your body when you're running. If you are getting aches and pains, then try not to increase your volume much more than you're already doing, but continue to go out, because it's as your body gets used to running that it'll stop getting as sore from running.
Like 1 week run at a particular duration each time, and then the next week bump it up 10%, or?
Yeah, basically you bump it up 10% a week. So 1 week you might walk run a minute on, a minute off for 20 to 30 minutes. And you'll be looking at doing that 4 to 6 days a week, depending on how things feel. The next week, maybe what you do is not increase the length of the run at all, but maybe go for 2 minutes on and 1 minute off. So really just gradually increasing the load to see how your body is responding to it, and just to make sure that you're not causing yourself any repetitive strain injuries.
Nice. Do you have any technical tips and tricks for people who aren't runners? They look more like Kermit the Frog or Rocky Balboa running, or Tom Cruise?
Yeah, I guess there's a couple things to consider. One being the cadence at which you run. So cadence is how quickly you move your feet. And it's been found that if you move your feet actually a little bit faster, so 170 to 190 little steps per minute, you're actually at lower risk of injury than a slower cadence. Now, cadence and speed aren't the same thing. So just because you're moving your feet faster does not actually mean you're running any faster. So that's something to consider. There are some online resources for that if you're not sure. There's some metronomes that you can run to if you really want to get serious about this.
I've actually Googled music at 180 beats a minute, and I believe Jay-Z actually has a number of songs out there that help you run at those tempos. So just Google the tempo you want to run at and music, and it should generate a whole bunch of playlists for you.
I think Spotify also has that. You can set the cadence that you want, and it'll compile a bunch of music for you. So there's definitely some options out there.
What else would be a great tip and trick for someone fresh off the couch?
The other thing to consider is, where is your foot landing when you're running? So in order to kind of reduce those impact forces through your joints, you actually want your foot to land kind of below your body. So a little trick for that would be to kind of run with your hips forward a little bit, just so that your foot is landing right below. And what that does is it allows you to maintain momentum as you're running. I kind of use the analogy of a skateboarder. So if you picture a skateboarder, when he's propelling himself forward, he lands with his foot right below him every time, so that he can kind of keep up his momentum. If he were to land with his foot straight out in front of him, he'd probably just fall right on forward, because he's basically just slowing himself down so much that he's going to fall.
Makes perfect sense. Sweet. Well, thanks, Michlele. Really appreciate you giving your insights, and enjoy the day.
Thanks, Fraser.